Now, are you ready? Let's get into the guts of the CV and the main sections. So this is my précis, my summary, because we're about to dive in now. Okay, so the main sections that we're expecting, and open your CV if you wish while we're talking here, right? Here's what I'm expecting on your CV. I'm expecting your name. Now, okay, most of us have got that, right? I'm also, one thing you can do, and we'll go into more detail here, you can put your thing underneath your name, right? So for example, Ewan McLeod, data analyst. Sometimes that's quite useful, okay, right? So the name section is important, right? I like that. I think it's quite useful that should be in bold a little bit, right? Okay, just so people can find it. So when it's on their desk, they can go, oh yeah, where's Ewan's CV? They can find it easily, right? So the title bit is the name. Then we come to contacts. Again, you'll have seen, if you've been looking at the videos earlier, you'll have seen I like the contact information to be just one line. As easy, simple as possible. I don't put addresses on there. They can ask if they really care about your location, right? So really simple, because often that one line is then removed by the recruiter, okay? Then we'll come into summary. So typically speaking, there will be some sort of summary. A lot of people like to put a personal summary or a candidate overview or something like that. I like that to be limited, but we'll go into that. Then, typically speaking, we're into experience or education. There isn't a wrong approach. I like to go into experience, because usually we're talking about getting a job, and the person hiring usually wants to know about your experience. But in some cases, we'll go for education first, okay? So we have experience, and that's where it's company name, dates on the right, and then then your job title, and then the details, bullet points about your experience, okay? Not narrative, so we'll come into that. Then let's assume we've done experience, then education, yes. You may then have a section on skills. We'll talk about that because I have opinions, just my view. Then you might want a section, and you can play with this order now, right? Because we're expecting name, summary, experience, or education. That's the top bit that we're expecting, right? The rest of it now is down to how you're feeling. So you can have voluntary positions. Sometimes a voluntary position would go in your experience section. Other times you might have quite a lot of voluntary stuff that you want to separate out from work experience. You may have personal projects. Sometimes we want to really, really show that you're capable, but you've not had the opportunity from a work experience standpoint. So you can put in a personal project section or a project section from your education, right, where you really want to show detail. Then we're down to, what else would you like? Sometimes you'll see people put interests. Interests can be quite useful because they really can attract attention later on. That's rarely is anyone getting hired by anything down here, right, in the CV. But it's often something that someone goes, oh, interesting. I didn't know they did ballet. I didn't know they did rugby. Interesting, right? And sometimes that's used for a CV interview, it's used for the interview, right? With I see it says here you do rugby. I see you do swimming. Say more about that, right? Because we're just asking to find out more about you and see how you're speaking and so on. So interests, you might have some links to GitHub is important. Often I'd like to see GitHub. That's a technical aspect there for people showing code that they've created and so on, and their technology profile. You might also want to add some links to your portfolio, or in some cases include examples. I have seen that, right? So your CV might be 1 page or 2 pages, but then you have another 6 pages of examples of portfolio work, if that's very relevant for that job that you're applying for. So there we go. Those are the main sections. So hopefully you've gone down on your CV as we've been speaking and gone, yes, 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 oh, right, or whatever, right? Now, let's dive in and go into each of those sections in detail.